Someone that knew you.
Yeah.
They start giving you information.
Yeah. But it was the same friend that sent him naked pictures of herself to him, sleeping around with somebody else. So why wouldn't she say that she want to sleep with you?
So when I walk to the car, I hear the noises and I knock on the window and she blatantly give me the look like, and so what? You see what I'm doing?
So your wife was having sex with another man in a car out front of your house?
Yes.
Maybe about 2 weeks or something like that.
After the
she come back,
reconciliation.
yeah. And I was excited.
I was scared,
Because
I know I had
believe-
sex with somebody else.
So he was excited and you were scared.
Yes.
The court session kicks off as the judge tells everyone to take a seat and gets the ball rolling with the case of Dallas versus Stewart. In a little chit-chat exchange, the judge and the court clerk Jerome share a quick hello before diving into the legal drama. Grab your popcorn because this is going to be good.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Dallas versus Stewart.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Dallas, you have dragged the defendant, Mr. Stewart, into court today to prove that he is the father of your newborn son, 1-month-old Lamar.
Straight out of a soap opera. Right. Miss Dallas steps up with a bombshell, accusing Mr. Stewart of denying he's the father of her 1-month-old son, Lamar, and she's visibly upset over his denials given his shady double life. The judge meticulously confirms the spicy details of this paternity pickle, setting the stage for an unforgettable courtroom showdown. Hang tight, it's about to get juicier.
Say you are shocked that he's denying he's baby Lamar's biological dad, especially since you discovered he's the one being a double life. Mr. Stewart, you claim that it's Ms. Dallas who's been far from faithful, and you believe that baby Lamar's dad, any one of multiple men.
Here's where it gets a little awkward. Mr. Stewart attempts to downplay his initial fib about being single, claiming the topic of his marital status just didn't come up early on. The judge isn't buying what he's selling and calls him out on his duty to disclose he was still on the market. Well, sort of. Buckle up, because the ride's getting bumpier.
You know, it didn't come up. You know, I felt like it didn't come up. Like,
How did it not come up?
didn't.
That's relevant information, is it not?
Yeah, true that. Yes, Your Honor.
So wait, you were basically out acting like a single man.
I wouldn't act, yes, Your Honor. Sorry about that.
I'm glad you just went on
Yes,
ahead and
Your
told the
Honor.
truth. You were out there acting like a single man, but you were married.
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you getting a divorce then?
In my head, yeah, I was getting a divorce.
In your head.
That means you were still married.
Yes.
Did anyone see that twist coming? As they unpack more of Mr. Stewart's marital mess, we learn that Ms. Dallas ended up pregnant amidst the confusion about where their relationship stood. They both had wildly different takes on the seriousness of their fling, which only adds more fuel to this fiery court drama. Don't go anywhere. The revelations are just getting started.
How long have you been married?
10 years.
So you found out about this baby and you were happy, but you didn't have doubt at that time. If you were happy,
He started beginning doubt. So-called my associate was telling him and his wife that I was sleeping around with multiple men when I conceived.
someone that knew you,
Yeah.
they start giving you information.
Yeah. But it was the same friend that sent him naked pictures of herself to him, sleeping around with somebody else. So why wouldn't she say that she want to sleep with you?
Enter the wife, and yes, it's as complicated as it sounds. Ms. Stewart strides into the courtroom, ready to set the record straight, claiming that her hubby met Ms. Dallas online, which hints that Mr. Stewart might have been shopping around, even if just for a little side fun. The story takes a tangled turn here, so keep watching because you won't believe what's next.
Please escort Ms. Stewart into the courtroom. Good morning, Ms. Stewart. Thank you for joining us today.
Very troubling, and it was not true.
What part of the testimony disagrees?
How they met? Cedric met her online.
Okay. And so you believe he was actually looking for
Exactly.
a relationship outside the marriage?
I wouldn't say a relationship, but relations.
Talk about a tangled web. Amidst a stormy debate, with all parties throwing in their 2 cents, Mr. Stewart awkwardly admits he's currently with Ms. Dallas, despite not having untied the knot with Ms. Stewart. It's a love triangle that not even a soap opera could dream up. And just when you think it can't get any wilder, it absolutely does.
So you and Ms. Dallas are together.
Yeah, we live together.
You
We
live
don't
together.
We,
Well, what's that?
you know what I
We
mean?
live together, but
we
he go
moved
back and
in
forth.
together, but we go back and forth. Like, she done moved out, came
2
back.
days.
You know what I mean? And
Are you all divorced or still married?
legally, we're still married.
Ms. Stewart, what do you want? Do you want this marriage to work? Are you...
Roberta knows what Roberta has to do for herself.
Moment of truth, everyone. The judge delivers the DNA test results, and boom.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Stewart, you are the father.
Hey, I told you, baby. I told you. He's not lie at all.
The courtroom drama unfolds with a surprising twist. Ms. Garnett and her mother, Ms. Miller, make a bold entrance with their case. They firmly claim that Mr. Langston, the defendant, is Ms. Garnett's biological father. Ms. Garnett expresses her disbelief and frustration over Mr. Langston's doubt about his paternity, arguing that it's pretty ridiculous given their history. The drama's just getting started, and it's already popcorn-worthy.
Hello.
This is a case of Garnett versus Langston.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Garnett, you and your mother, Ms. Miller, have opened your case to prove to the defendant that he is your biological father. You are baffled because you consider him a daddy and a best friend and state his doubt is unwarranted and demand an apology once the results are revealed.
Tension crackles in the air like a pre-thunderstorm. The judge acknowledges Ms. Garnett's passionate claim with a nod. Ms. Garnett insists that Mr. Langston is her father and demands an apology from him once the DNA results are revealed. Mr. Langston counters with a dramatic flair, stating he has always known he isn't her biological father and feels he deserves an apology instead. Things are heating up, and you won't believe what happens next.
Mr. Langston, you claim you have always known you weren't Ms. Garnett's biological father and feel after the results are revealed, you are the one who deserves apology. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, how did this all start?
You could cut the tension with a knife or maybe a gavel. The origins of the dispute are traced back to a mysterious text message. Ms. Garnett explains that a recent text from Mr. Langston reopened old wounds and brought up past uncertainties about his paternity, prompting her to seek legal resolution. This text message turns into a central piece of melodrama in the case. Buckle up, because the details are juicier than a ripe peach.
That wasn't the very beginning, but this is why we're here. Text message brought us here, and this is the evidence that I brought in today.
Oh, okay.
Can I give it to you?
Please, Jerome. So this started with a text.
So after almost 2 years of reaching out to my father after visiting him in 2015, pleading to get him to respond, he wasn't responding.
Here's where it gets even spicier. Mr. Langston takes the floor, his voice heavy with emotion, discussing his estrangement and his reasons for doubting his paternity. He recounts personal anecdotes and past suspicions that have troubled him over the years, painting a picture of a novella-level complicated relationship. The plot thickens, and you'll want to hear this next part.
So why were you estranged for 2 years? What happened?
We live in different states, Your Honor, but we had always been close. I went to visit him in Chicago for a funeral, and everything was great. But when I returned back home, I don't know what happened. He just cut off communication.
Well, I wasn't talking to her like I normally do.
Why?
Because I was just harboring this gut feeling that I had read from the beginning that she's not my daughter.
Tears and heartfelt confessions make their entrance. Ms. Garnett shares her emotional connection with Mr. Langston. She describes their close relationship, which blossomed as she reached adulthood, and her utter shock when Mr. Langston first voiced doubts about being her father. The emotional roller coaster doesn't stop here. There's more heart-tugging ahead.
Ms. Garnett, you grew up as a daddy's girl. You say he's your best friend.
He's always been my dad. I've always known him to be my dad. When I became an adult, around 21 years old, that's when we started really becoming. Years ago, when I was at the funeral with him, he had brought up for the very first time that he thought I may not have been his daughter, which blew my mind. After he vomited all this tragedy on me, he recanted and took it back.
Money talks, but the drama shouts. The court hears about Mr. Langston's financial contributions. Despite his doubts, Mr. Langston reveals he paid child support for over 20 years, questioning why a DNA test wasn't conducted sooner. If you thought that was a bombshell, just wait for the fallout.
When the baby was born, did Mr. Langston participate in the birth?
Not at all.
Did he sign the birth certificate?
No.
I paid child support not only 18 years, I paid it 20 years.
But when
they
did you
started
start?
sending me checks back for overpayment, $1,700, $800, $1,000. $500,
$150,000 and pay for a DNA test went out before I turned 36 years.
Grab your tissues. It's about to get emotional. Mr. Langston shares the turmoil he felt when sending the revealing text message to Ms. Garnett, emphasizing his deep care for her, despite the paternity doubts. His confession is as heartfelt as it is dramatic, setting the stage for an even more dramatic revelation.
Says you've had these doubts and you just felt like, I want to be able to look at this entire relationship with a clear lens.
I do. If I can't trust myself, how am I gonna trust you or anybody else? I might do something I never did before and I look and say, you did that? What? So how am I gonna trust you if I can't trust me?
Jerome, I could not have explained it any better.
A picture is worth 1,000 words, or in this case, a possible paternity confirmation. The court examines a Facebook post by Ms. Garnett where she compares her photo with that of her grandfather, observing any familial resemblance, which many family members affirmed. The courtroom holds its breath as the DNA results loom closer, and trust me, you'll want to see how this turns out.
Amidst all of this confusion, you began to post on Facebook. You put this post up. Can you please step up to the the plasma and tell the court why you posted this.
After the text message, I did some soul searching, just laying in my bed looking through my phone, and I saw a picture of myself, this picture, and it reminded me of this picture of my grandfather. This is Mr. Langston's father. And I noticed some similarities in our faces.
Hold on to your hats, folks. The DNA test results are revealed.
Mr. Langston, you are not the father.
Are not the father?
He is not her biological father.
Now don't look at me. Ask her who your daddy really is.
Court is now in session, folks. The case named Dixon Veers Hunt is announced, setting the stage for the drama about to unfold in this courtroom saga. Grab your popcorn because the show is just getting started.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Dixon versus Hunt.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Dixon, you are furious that your husband, Stephen, denies he fathered your daughter, Tanea. You believe because you cheated in the past, he is holding previous mistakes against you. You plan to prove paternity today.
Cue the tension music as Miss Dixon takes the stand. She admits to cheating in the past and asserts her intention to prove the paternity of her daughter, Tanaya, to her husband, Stephen. This is about to get as juicy as a daytime soap opera, so don't go anywhere.
Mr. Hunt, you state you caught your wife cheating on you and you are convinced you did not father 14-month-old Tanea. You say today's DNA results will determine the future of your marriage.
Here comes Mr. Hunt, looking like he's ready to drop a bombshell. He expresses his doubts about being the father of Tanaya due to the infidelity, emphasizing the critical nature of the DNA results for the future of their marriage. Hold on tight, because this roller coaster is about to take a wild turn.
After prior infidelity was confirmed in their court.
Yes,
Take
Your
a
Honor.
look.
I need to know if she's cheating on me. I have concerns if my daughter is mine.
Ms. Dixon, what do you want to prove today?
I mean, I know I messed up in the past, but people change.
I have a direct line to Judge Lauren Lake, and this court is ordering you to appear before her to determine if Mr. Hunt is in fact the father of your 1-year-old daughter.
Drama alert in the courtroom. The court hears how Mr. Hunt caught his wife cheating in a car parked outside their home. This dramatic revelation shows the extent of the betrayal and its impact on their relationship. Just when you think you've seen it all, the next revelation will knock your socks off.
I'm gonna give you a chance to respond, but I want Mr. Hunt to finish the story about what happened in this car.
Yeah, so when I walk to the car, I hear the noises and I knock on the window and she blatantly give me the look like, and so what? You see what I'm doing?
So your wife was having sex with another man in a car out front of your house?
Yes.
Plot twist incoming. A couple of months after the infidelity, Miss Dixon discovers she's pregnant. She informs her husband, suspecting the conception timing aligns with when they were together. Strap in, folks. The twists and turns are just getting started.
How soon after that did you find out that you're pregnant?
A couple of months after that happened.
What happens? Who do you tell? Take me back to that day. Do you
Okay,
tell your husband?
I told my husband
And
because the due dates from the time I conceived her to the time they said I was due, I didn't sleep with him. That was a one night. That was a one-time thing. Yeah, that's
You
true.
know that.
That's true.
You had sex with this guy one time out in front of the house.
Yeah.
Was it protected?
No.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back into the water, speculation arises that Mr. Hunt's brother might be the biological father of Tanaya, adding another layer of complexity to the case. This family tree is turning into a family bush. Stay tuned for what's next.
Your brother could be Tanea's biological father?
Possibility.
And you brought a witness.
Yes.
I'd like to hear from her. Please stand, ma'am. Ms. Cooper, you are what relation to the defendant?
I'm her aunt.
You are the plaintiff's aunt.
Oh, yes.
This is interesting.
To even insinuate something like that.
She never said anything about him, like about
I don't
him
care
cheating
though, and he wasn't
or
there
anything.
though.
Oh, the drama. The court hears from Miss Cooper, the aunt, who suggests that Mr. Hunt's brother could potentially be the father, indicating a deep family involvement in the dispute. The suspense is building, and you won't believe who speaks up next.
What makes you think that's a possibility?
I mean, because she clearly cheated, and I mean, he's gone. What is
Okay.
if he's still there when he's gone? Why is he still there? I'm gonna take my brother with me.
Me cheating and then me sleeping with someone who's blood related to him.
Okay.
What characteristics have I shown you as you being my auntie that I'm that type of person?
It's getting hot in here. Katisha Dixon, the mother of Miss Dixon, confidently states that she believes Stephen is the father because of the resemblance between him and Tanaya, showing her support and belief in her daughter's story. Things are heating up, and the next moment is a real firecracker.
and I'd like to hear from her. Ma'am, please stand. Please state your name for the court.
Katisha Dixon,
And what is your relationship to Ms. Dick?
her mother,
Who do you think is Tanea's biological father?
Steven.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
And you believe that without a doubt?
Without a doubt.
Why?
She looked just like him.
And now, for a word from our not-so-regular scheduled programming. The brother's testimony. He clarifies his whereabouts during the crucial time and denies any sexual relationship with Miss Dixon, which brings some clarity, but also additional questions to the case. The suspense is unbearable, and the DNA results are just around the corner.
Jerome, can you please escort Mr. Hunt's brother into the courtroom? Thank you for joining us today. I have a few questions for you. There's been testimony thus far that indicated that you were staying at your brother's house while he was out of town. Were you staying there with Ms. Dixon?
Yes, ma'am.
Did your brother, Mr. Hunt, know you were there at the time?
No, ma'am.
You could hear a pin drop.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Chris Hunt, you are not father. Mr. Stephen Hunt, you are not the father.
Who is the daddy?
You are not the biological.
No.
Here we go. In the bustling courtroom of Johnson versus Johnson, Mr. Johnson is not convinced he's the father of baby DeArie and is itching to scratch his name off the birth certificate. On the flip side, Mrs. Johnson is as sure as sunrise that he's the daddy. The judge is all ears, ready to decide if they should dive into a paternity test. Folks, fasten your seatbelts. This drama train is leaving the station.
Mr. Johnson, you are here with your wife, but you are positive her newborn daughter, DeArie, is not your biological child. You have petitioned this court to grant you a paternity test so you can get your name removed from the birth certificate. Mrs. Johnson, you say that despite your husband's fears, you are confident he fathered your daughter and you intend to prove paternity.
As the plot thickens, Mrs. Johnson lays it all out, tearing up about the emotional whirlwind this paternity question has spun her family into. Imagine, a 10-day-old treated like an outsider in her own crib. Tears are shed and hearts are heavy as she spells out just how rough this ride is for her baby. The judge passes a tissue and offers a gentle word, recognizing the weight of this family drama. Hold tight, because just as you catch your breath, another curveball is about to be thrown.
I feel like my kids don't deserve this. My daughter don't. She's only 10 days old. Like, she shouldn't have to be the black sheep of the family.
I'm just trying to protect myself.
Right. And
I'm not trying to hurt anyone, but I'm just trying to protect myself.
Right, and in doing that, she feels you separating from the family. So we know that there is a lot on the line here, am I correct?
Now, catch this soap opera twist. After a year on the breakup bench, filled with betrayals, self-discoveries, and a bundle of misunderstandings, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson somehow find their way back to each other. And bam, a baby announcement lands right as they reunite. But the plot thickens with Mr. Johnson catching wind of a fling during their break. Brace yourselves. We're on a truth quest, and it's going to be a wild ride with twists and turns.
I just saw how my kids reacted to it, so that's what made me want to go back.
Because I
You
was
saw
like,
how
gone
happy
for a
your
little
children
while.
were to be with their dad and with you and this. Yes, I understand that. And so how soon after you reconnected did you find out she was pregnant?
Maybe about 2 weeks or something like that.
After the
she come back.
reconciliation.
Yeah. And I was excited.
I was scared,
Because
I know I had
believe-
sex with somebody else.
So he was excited and you were scared.
Yes.
Here's the clincher. As everyone leans in, the judge starts matching up the dots. When they got back together versus when DeArie was conceived, it's tighter than a drum, and the suspense is mounting. Mr. Johnson's doubts are as high as a kite. Will a paternity test be the key to peace, or will it just crank up the drama even more? The courtroom is on pins and needles, waiting for the next drop on this roller coaster ride.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Johnson, you are the father.
That's great news. Absolutely.